All right, here we go. I'm recording my first video, and it's about to be rough, but I hope it's still helpful. I get my hair done on Monday. It was going to be today, but we had a snowstorm here in Texas, and so I look like this. And I don't have my contacts on. I have on glasses. Testing my first video.
Are you really?
You just interrupted. You can come say hi since you're here.
Wow.
I'm about to try to do my first video.
Hey.
Testing it all out.
Check, 2, check, mic check.
This is my husband, my child,
check,
my
2,
youngest
2.
kid.
Okay.
We're going to talk about the advantages of being certified as a minority-owned business, since I'm working on that. And then I have a whole list of ideas I just brainstormed for the rest of the year. And then I have ideas for the future. So today is my first attempt at giving back some of what I've learned officially. Other than, online, because I've done it in real life.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to let you get it.
Okay. You too, sir.
He sit back like,
Like, okay, talk about it. Can I talk about it? Okay, here, go. I'll be out when I'm done.
Mommy, I was that.
What?
What's that?
The light? Okay, no. I'm using it. Okay, go ahead. Let mommy finish.
I want to look at that and you was later.
Okay, I'm going to finish and then I'll come out, okay?
Look at my.
Okay, I love you.
Bye-bye. I want to look at that.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Okay, so that's just a glimpse into my life, and I look forward to sharing more of it as this all unfolds. But for today, just want to introduce myself. My name is Candace Reese. I'm going to turn this heater off. My name is Candace Reese. I work with a heater at my feet, and it kicks on and off. I'm going to try to leave it off. My name is Candace Reese. I am coming up on 8 years of being an entrepreneur, working for myself in video production and live event production as a producer. I own a business called O Productions, and I really love what I do. Before this, I was a television producer. Before that, I worked in the music business and worked for a church. So over time, I plan to share a bit more about all of those things in bite-sized pieces so it does not overwhelm anybody, but also maybe it will encourage somebody to step into the role or the career path of production or entertainment or business. It is a viable industry, and if you are a believer in Jesus Christ, I also believe it is a necessary industry for us to be in, just to shed light into an environment where there's normally people who really don't care about your faith. So it's been a really great experience, and today in particular I want to talk about the advantages and some of the things I'm learning as I am applying to become a certified minority owned business. Now, this has been on my list to become a certified woman owned business and a certified minority owned business for a couple years, and I started the application process like 2 years ago for the woman owned business application. And this thing, the application is extensive. Okay, this is not like a 1-2 page situation. I worked on that application 2 years ago, and I kept having to request extensions because I didn't have all the information together. 2 years later, here I am applying to be a certified minority owned business, and I was able to fill it all out much quicker. I think because I have established more years in business, and also I started getting things in order from a business perspective. So after I get my minority owned business application in, I do plan to go back and start again from the beginning, because after they let you postpone your woman owned application like 2 times, I think. And then after you file for an extension twice, they remove your application. You have to start over. So I have to start over with that one. But I think having done this minority owned application, now I'm almost done. I'm one item away, which I'll share that as we get into the video. But I'm one item away from having that application complete. And so after I get this one in motion, I plan to go back and revisit the woman-owned application, and I will report back to let you know if I am able to fill it out faster now that I have more experience as a business owner. And so starting off, I want to talk about, well, there's a few things I plan to talk about in the video, just so you know what's coming up. The advantages of becoming a certified minority-owned business, the documents needed, and I will not share an extensive list. I also think it's going to vary kind of based on your location. So I am specifically applying in Texas, and so there's a specific organization that I apply to. But if you're in another state, you may have a different organization. So you really have to do your own research and Google kind of how do I become a certified minority owned business and insert your city name or your state name, and there you should find the organization you should apply to. So I'm going to go over some of the documents that I've needed to provide. Not all of them, because there's like, oh my gosh, I think there's like 30 things on the list. I'm just going to hit some of the ones that I've had to provide, and then things I would have done from the onset of starting my business, like when I started almost 8 years ago, what I would have done differently then to prepare for this day of submitting this application. And really, had I done some of those things, I probably could have submitted for this a few years ago. But here I am. You live and you learn. The older you get, the more you know. So, as I said, I'm in the process of applying, and hopefully this video will help you speed your process up if you are interested in applying as well. So some of the advantages, if you don't know, of becoming a certified minority owned business, and now I don't know how much longer these things will be true, depending on government legislation, who's in office, and what things change with our laws, and all of that can affect how advantageous this certification is. So my motivation isn't from a political standpoint at all. It's really for me, just personally, it's important, I think, to represent minority owned businesses that are doing well, that we are able to build self-sustaining organizations, and just to be able to officially represent being a minority owned business is really what excites me the most. But there are some other advantages that come along with it. I just filled out a vendor application for a local city here, and they asked you to fill out whether or not you are certified as minority owned, woman owned, LGBTQ. Like, they give this whole list of Latino owned, I think was one as well, but you can mark. And so whenever they're looking for vendors related to a specific demographic, they may vet their vendors that have checked off certain things. So there's advantages like that as well. But you'll have to do it for yourself. Like, ultimately, there are these advantages I'm going to mention, but if none of them are like striking a chord with you, or if you don't have the personal desire to do it, not necessary at all. You could just continue to be great and do your business and do your thing. But for me, it's something that I really wanted to do. And so some of the advantages are contract opportunities. You can get access to special government contracts with diversity requirements. There are specific set aside contracts for minority owned businesses with certain companies and organizations. There are financial benefits. You may qualify for special loans. You could get preferred interest rates from lenders, and there are special funding opportunities through the Small Business Administration that you would qualify for if you are certified as minority owned. There's also business development opportunities within corporate and government suppliers that have diversity programs, mentorship opportunities with established companies. There's marketing advantages, and it's really a way to differentiate yourself amongst competitors, especially in an industry like mine, video and live event production. There's not a lot of minority owned companies. You can find minorities working for other people, but for it to be actually minority owned we are also it's not very common. So I consider it a privilege to represent. Not only am I a minority in that it's a black owned company, but it's also minority in that it's a woman owned company in an industry that's very white male dominated. So I am excited to expand the representation in production for women and for people of color. Documents needed. Now, as I said, the list is extensive. Okay, it's a lot. Some of the things I didn't even know what they were. I had to Google and read, and I watched a video. The organization that I'm doing my application through, they have like this hour-long video that you watch before you even start the application. So thankfully, some of the items were explained in that video, but other things I still had to look up. But hey, we're getting there. We're getting there. So aside from the application, there are at least, I want to say 30 files that you will need to upload. And depending on your business, some of them will not apply. So there were a lot of them that I could click not applicable, such as like stocks and market share type stuff. I didn't have to do any of that, but things that I did have to include were like articles of incorporation, doing business as filings if you have any, your federal tax ID number, your EIN. You have to submit the official proof of it. It's not like type in your number. It's like give us the documents that came from your state, giving you the official EIN, giving you your official certification, or giving you the formation, your formation documents. There's proof of ownership. Now this is the one that we are still working on. For ours, the proof of ownership and the proof of ethnicity are done in the form of, or the proof of ethnicity is done in the form of birth certificate. The birth certificate I have for myself does not list my ethnicity. If your ethnicity is missing from your birth certificate, you could do one of two things. One, you can request a long form birth certificate. However, depending on the year you were born, it may not even have your ethnicity listed, because they started changing things to present more equity in the world. So birth certificates stopped having, there's somebody at my door. Who is it? My child. Yes. I see your hat. Okay, let mommy finish. Okay? When I finish, I'm going to come out. Go, close the door.
It's about to be time for
Okay.
the game, then I won't be able to play home.
Gotcha. Okay, close the door. Close the door. You're slowing me down.
Okay, I'm going to come close in 1 second.
5 minutes. Okay. I forget what I was saying. I don't even remember what I was saying. They interrupted my train of thought. Birth certificates. Right. So as an effort to lessen, I don't know. The world is crazy. We go one way, we think this way, one way we think another. Ethnicity used to be a standard on birth certificates. And then when it became like an issue of equality, one of the ways they decided to establish equality was to remove birth certificates, remove ethnicities off of birth certificates. Well, now you fast forward to where we are trying to up the ante on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we need to prove that we are indeed minority or of a certain ethnicity. All this to say, my birth certificate does not have my ethnicity on it. I have requested a long form version of my birth certificate to see if it is on there. If it is not on there, the next steps are to get the birth or death certificates of your parents. If their birth certificates or death certificates do not list their ethnicity, then you have to move to your grandparents, which I don't even know. Getting my grandparents' birth certificates like that, that's a whole nother thing. If your grandparents don't have it, I think you can do your children, but you have to go in the sequential order, at least for the state that I'm applying in. So hopefully your birth certificate has your ethnicity listed on it. If not, this will probably be the hardest part of the application for you, as it's been for me. I've got everything else loaded, saved, ready to go, but I've had to hunt down proof that I am indeed black. So I'll keep you posted on that. Operating agreements. If you're an LLC, you'll have to have proof of your operating agreement proof of capital invested by each owner. And that is something that I did not have. So I'm hoping I can get by. But especially when you're first starting your business, you're not really keeping records like that. You're kind of just spending money as you need to. I think the only thing I could probably prove as initial capital investment is purchasing my LLC, or the fees associated to starting my LLC. So I would just say, especially if you're first starting off in business, just even if it's a simple Excel sheet, keep a track record of things that you've purchased to start your business that you put in your own money to personally invest in. If you have a business partner, do the same. Just keep track of who is doing what. Meeting minutes, documenting ownership. I've not had any meetings. My husband is listed as a co-owner on my business, and I did that because I was newly married. Well, we got me. That's a whole other story for another day, but my last day at my full-time job was the Friday before we got married. So that Sunday we got married. Friday was my last day at work. Sunday we got married. I took about 2 weeks to just be a wife, move in with him, and get our lives situated as husband and wife. And then I started working for myself. So I've been self-employed our entire marriage since 2017. In 2019, I decided to move from being what is it called when you work for yourself and it's just like your own money? Y'all know what I'm saying. The word is leaving my mind. I can't think of what it's called. Anyway, sole proprietor. Heh. Okay, so I went from being a sole proprietor from 2017 to 2018 to 2019, I established my business as an LLC. So from 2019 on, I had my husband listed as a co-owner on the business. What I did not know to do was to make me primary owner. I only listed him as an owner, not because he would be helping me with the operations of it. I just was thinking, I'm his wife, he's my husband, we're splitting everything. Had I known then what I know now, I would have either established the business solely in my name or established it, making it clear that I was the primary owner. Whether you choose to do 51%, 49, 60, 40, whatever your choice on that is, it's really just an advantageous business move to do that. It does not remove your spouse from having credibility, ownership, viability within your business if you want them to have that, or legally. Like, I've just learned a lot. So that's one thing I would say. Sidebar tip: if you are starting a new business and you are married and you want your spouse to have ownership, if there are advantages to you being the primary owner, set yourself up that way. But don't just do it on paper. You actually have to function that way. Part of this application process, once I get the application submitted, they're also going to do an interview with me and a virtual tour. I don't know if they do in-person tours. If you have a brick and mortar situation, I work from home, so that's a whole different deal. But they're going to vet my business to make sure I am actually the primary decision maker. I am actually the owner. I am actually running it like the owner, even though my husband is listed as a partial owner. So if you do that, do not try to set up your business just to get the advantages, because they know a lot of people do that. And don't lie. Just don't lie. Be real about it. If you're going to be the primary one running it and you're a minority or you're a woman, set it up on paper that way and also run it that way. Pro tip. So aside from that, you're also going to need financial records. You're going to need your tax returns. They request 2 to 3 years of business tax returns and personal tax returns. If yours are combined, then you can just send it all in one situation. But if you apply for this certification too soon, I don't know what the impact of that would be. Like I said, I have 7 years of between self-employment and business tax history. So sending 2 to 3 years is not a thing for me. But if you're starting out, you may want to consider waiting until you have business tax returns and financial statements from your business to be able to prove that you're an actual business that's making money and the government recognizes it as such. Bank signature cards, which for me, I had to physically go to my bank to get the signature card. That'll be case by case based on who your bank is. Current balance sheet, a profit and loss statement, which that everything is like a contingency upon something else, right? So if you're not properly bookkeeping, or if you don't have a bookkeeping system, That's a whole nother topic you got to go down just to make sure that you're able to give those types of reports. I use QuickBooks, and so presenting a balance sheet or a profit and loss statement is not a thing. I also have a bookkeeper, so I don't even have to worry about all that. But there was a time when I was the only person in my business, so I also know what it's like to be at the beginning and just keeping track of everything by yourself. QuickBooks Self-Employed is a great start if you don't have official bookkeeping records on your own. I highly suggest there. And yeah, I wonder, could I give y'all a code? Let me see. I'll see. If there's a code, I'm going to put it in the description of this video. I'm new to this. I don't know. Business operations, they're going to request resumes for owners and anybody in key management. And I actually just updated my resume because there was a job I was interested in. And I was like, I don't want to work full time for somebody because I love working for myself. But their needs, I was really just trying to get an interview with them to see if their need could be met by our services. And so I submitted an application because I knew I could do the job. And I was like, if they choose to interview me, then I could just be real about it. I don't want to work full time, but I can offer all these services and add an advantage to you because you don't have to pay me insurance. I don't know. I haven't gotten an interview yet, so that may not work. I've never tried that either, so this is like my first attempt. But before this, I did not have an active resume. I hadn't had to apply for a job. I hadn't submitted a resume for anything in 7 years. So I guess keep your resume updated just in case, which I have another thought on why that's important that I'll share in another video. Just, be ready. Stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. They're going to request contracts and purchase orders from clients. So like if a client has requested a job, they're going to want you to prove that you did the work and that they asked you to do it. So whether it's an invoice or a contract agreement, something that shows the work was requested and then that payment was received. So just showing that you are a functioning business and transactionally making money. Of course, you'll need personal identification, driver's license, or social security card. And those are just a few of the things that will be required. Now, things I would have done from the onset of starting my business to prepare for this day, I would have, like I said earlier, established ownership percentages from the jump. So up front in the formation process, you have an opportunity to list who the owners are. And if I'm remembering correctly, because it's been almost 8 years, if I'm remembering correctly, there was a point, well, it's been 6 years since I did the LLC application, but I do think there's a spot on there where you can assign percentages to owner. I could be wrong. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't done it in a while, but that would be one thing I would have done. I would have kept my resume current and I would have created an operating agreement. Since we started off as an LLC, I would have created an operating agreement from the jump instead of having to figure one out in the moment. So thankfully, my husband is my business partner, so he willingly and was like, sure, sign the operating agreement and also signed off vouching that I do indeed run the company. He supports me where he can, but for the most part, I'm making the decisions, I'm running everything. So he was, of course, down with verifying that and also changing his ownership percentage on paper. So in conclusion, if you decide to apply to become a minority-owned business officially, getting yourself certified, I highly recommend it for sure, but just make sure it's the right timing for you. Do you have enough business history? Do you have enough proof to show that you are a viable business and that you are minority-owned? And have you done the research required to know what you're going to need ahead of time? I would highly suggest you get a list. I have a project management system I use, and I put it in there and created a checklist of all the items that I would need to submit. And that way I knew what I needed to find and could just check it off. And then when I was ready to upload those things to the application, I did that. As of right now, I have one item left. Like I said, I have to do our birth certificates. And as soon as they get here, please, Jesus, let them have our ethnicity on it. Because that's the last thing I need to be able to submit my application. So I'm almost finished. I'll report back as I make progress in the process, and hopefully I'll be able to celebrate with you all sometime in 2025 that I am officially a certified minority owned business. Hey, hey. So more to come. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.